The storm had just ended when the human soldiers stepped into the alien colony. His boots were heavy with dust, his uniform torn from the crash that had almost taken his life. He had fallen from the sky in a broken shuttle, barely surviving.
Wow, 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 wow.
Locals had found him half buried in the wreckage and carried him into their settlement. It was a strange place, no men, only women. Everywhere he looked, tall alien women moved with purpose. Their skin glowed faintly under the pale twin moons, their eyes sharp and intelligent. But what shocked him most was the silence in their stares. They looked at him as if he were something rare, something valuable, or something dangerous. He tried to keep calm. He told himself it was just curiosity. He was, after all, the only human on this planet. But he was wrong. Late in the evening, as he sat near a fire pit trying to warm his hands, a small shadow appeared before him. It was a girl barely 10 years old by human standards, though her alien features made it hard to judge. Her big eyes glistened in the firelight. She clutched her hands tightly as if gathering courage. The soldier leaned forward. "What is it, kid?" he asked softly. The girl trembled, then blurted out words that made the entire camp freeze. "Please, marry my mom. She's better trained, much more experienced." The soldier blinked. He thought he had misheard. Around the fire, alien women exchanged looks. Some frowned, some whispered, and some turned away, as if ashamed. He cleared his throat. "Wait, what did you just say?" The girl's voice broke, but she repeated, even louder this time. "Please marry my mom. She knows how to fight, how to protect. She is strong. She needs someone like her." The soldier felt a shiver run down his spine. This wasn't a joke. The girl was dead serious. Her little body shook, but her eyes burned with desperate hope. He looked around, searching for help, but no one moved. The other women watched silently, their faces unreadable. Finally, from the shadows, a taller figure stepped forward. It was the girl's mother. The soldier saw her for the first time, clearly a striking woman. Tall and graceful, her body marked with faint scars that told of battles fought long ago. Her eyes, however, were full of both strength and sorrow. She placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "That is enough," she said in a low voice. The girl shook her head. "No, Mama. He's our chance. If he chooses you, we won't be cast out." The soldier froze. "Cast out? Chance.
What did that
mean?" He stood up slowly. "Listen, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. But the mother cut him off with a sharp look. "Do not speak yet, human. My daughter does not understand the ways of our people." Speaks out of fear. Fear. The word lingered in his mind. The girl clutched her mother's hand tightly. "But it's true. You're the best, Mama. Better than the others. You should know." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she turned to the soldier again. "Please, don't let them send us away. You'll see my mom is everything you need." Soldier's chest tightened. He wasn't used to this kind of plea, not on battlefields, not in negotiations. This was different. This was raw, innocent, and terrifyingly real. He looked into the little girl's eyes and saw something he recognized. Survival. It's the same look he had seen in war-torn villages, in the eyes of children who clung to soldiers because they had no one else left. The fire cracked, throwing sparks into the air. The silence grew heavier. Finally, the mother spoke again. "My name is Sarah," she said. Her voice was calm but carried weight. "Forgive my daughter." "Shh. She does not understand the shame she has brought on us tonight. The soldier shook his head slowly. There's no shame in wanting to protect your family. Sarah's eyes flickered, as if his words surprised her. For a moment, her hardened mask cracked. He saw the exhaustion beneath. But before he could ask more, the colony leader, an older woman with silver streaks in her hair, stood and addressed him. You must forgive what you have witnessed. You must also know the truth. In our world, men no longer exist. For generations, we have survived alone. But survival comes with rules. The soldier's pulse quickened. He had suspected something was strange. But hearing it confirmed sent chills down his spine. The leader continued, her voice firm. Without males of our kind, alliances are made through outsiders. When one arrives, he must choose. If not, those who are unchosen, she paused, glancing at Sarah and her daughter, are cast out, left to fend for themselves. The soldier's stomach nodded. So that was it. Girl wasn't begging for love. She was begging for survival. He glanced at Sarah. She stood tall, refusing to beg herself, even though her daughter already had. Pride and pain clashed in her eyes. The little girl, however, wouldn't give up. She stepped closer, almost whispering now. She's better than them. She knows things. She can fight, heal, lead. Please, pick her. The soldier swallowed hard. He had trained for battles, for war zones, for alien encounters, but he had never trained for this, a child pleading for him to marry her mother. His mind raced. This wasn't just about him anymore. This was about life and death for them. As the firelight flickered against the alien faces around him, he realized something terrifying. He was no longer just a guest in this colony. He was their only option. And the choice he made next would decide their fate. The fire still burned low when the camp finally began to move again. Whispers spread among the alien women like restless winds. The human soldier stood frozen, still trying to process the little girl's words. She had begged him to marry her mother, not out of childish fantasy, but out of pure desperation. And then the mother stepped forward. She was taller than most of the women around her, her posture upright, shoulders squared as if she carried the weight of an entire world. Her long hair, dark as the night sky, fell loosely around her face, but her eyes sharp, cold, and unyielding locked onto the soldiers. Her presence silenced the whispers. The little girl immediately ran to her side, clutching her arm tightly. "Mama, don't be angry," she whispered. "He has to know. Has to." The soldier's breath caught in his throat. The girl's mother was unlike anyone he had seen before. Not just beautiful, but dangerous. There was a kind of discipline. In her stance, scars along her forearms and neck, faint but visible in the glow of the fire. Each scar told a story of survival, her lips pressed into a thin line. Finally, she spoke. "Human," she said, her voice low but powerful. "Forget what you heard." My daughter spoke out of turn. Soldier swallowed hard. "She only wanted to protect you." The woman's eyes narrowed slightly, as if his words carried more meaning than he realized. But she shook her head. "Do not understand. Here a child should not speak of such things. It is shameful." The girl tugged at her mother's sleeve. "But it's true, Mama. If he doesn't choose, they'll cast us out. He's strong. He's different. He could save us." The soldier's chest tightened again. Oh, there he was, though. Word save. This wasn't about love or romance. It was survival. The mother turned, her expression softening for only a moment as she placed a hand on her daughter's head. "Enough, child. You have said too much already." The leader of the colony, the older woman with silver-streaked hair, stepped closer. Her tone was firm. "Sarah, control your daughter. You know the rules." Sarah, so that was her name. The soldier couldn't stay silent any longer. He looked from the leader to Sarah, then back again. "What rules are we talking about here? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like a child is begging for her mother's life." A hush fell again. The alien women shifted uneasily. The leader glared at him, but Sarah raised her hand, stopping her from speaking further. "I will explain," Sarah said quietly, her voice carrying a strange mix of pride and sorrow. But not here. Not in front of them all. She turned sharply, her long cloak swaying with the motion. Follow me. The soldier hesitated, but something in her tone told him he didn't have a choice. The little girl clung to her mother's hand as Sarah led them away from the fire, past rows of huts, made from stone and woven branches, until they reached the edge of the settlement. There, beneath the pale light of the twin moons, Sarah stopped. She looked back at him, her eyes unreadable. You survived a crash, human. You fought death and lived. That alone makes you rare. He frowned. Rare? I'm just a man who got unlucky. No, Sarah said firmly. You are more than that. Here, you are the only male I have seen in my lifetime. Do you understand what that means? The soldier felt a chill crawl down his spine. He thought back to what the leader had said earlier, that men no longer existed on this planet. Was that truly possible? Entire generations with no males at all? Sarah continued, her voice steadier now. Our people survive through outsiders, through bonds formed when someone like you arrives. Without it, those who are left unchosen are abandoned. My daughter knows this. She fears exile. The soldier clenched his fists. Exile? You mean they would throw you out just because I didn't choose you? Her silence was answer enough. The little girl's eyes shimmered again. With tears, they'll send us away, Mama. I don't want to leave. Please, he has to know the truth. Sarah knelt down, pulling her daughter into a firm embrace. For the first time, the soldier saw her walls break. Her voice trembled. I have fought for years to keep us safe. I will not beg for his protection, not even now, the soldier's. Heart twisted. She wasn't weak. She wasn't desperate. She was proud to ask, even if it meant suffering. But her daughter wasn't bound by that pride. The girl looked up at him, her small voice piercing the heavy silence. She is better trained than any of them. She knows how to fight, how to heal, how to lead. If you pick her, you'll live too, don't you see? You need her as much as we need you. The soldier's jaw tightened. He had spent years on battlefields, surrounded by soldiers and survivors, but nothing compared to this, a child forcing him to face a decision that could change both their lives. He met Sarah's gaze. Is she right? For a moment, Sarah didn't answer. Then slowly she rose to her full height. The moonlight cast shadows across her face, highlighting the scars that spoke of countless battles. Yes, she admitted quietly. I am trained, I have led, I have healed, I can protect. But I will never force you. If you choose, it must be because you see the truth for yourself, not because a frightened child begged you. Her voice didn't waver. She meant every word. Soldier felt his throat tighten, didn't know what to say. Every instinct told him to keep his distance, to protect himself, to stay out of alien customs he didn't understand. But another part of him, deep inside, whispered, something else. Maybe she's right. Maybe you do need her. The silence stretched. Between them, thick and heavy, broken only by the sound of the night insects. Finally, Sarah turned, pulling her daughter close. Come, she said firmly. We return to the fire. Enough has been said tonight. But as they walked back toward the camp, the soldier knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. He had stepped into a world of rules he did not understand. With lives hanging on his decision, and Sarah, the mother who appeared so strong, yet carried so much hidden pain, was at the center of it all. The campfire was dying when the soldier lay awake in the alien hut they had given him. Sleep refused to come. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the little girl's face, her trembling hands, her desperate words, "Please marry my mom. She is better trained, much more experienced." He turned on the thin mat, staring at the ceiling made of woven leaves and stone. Outside, he heard the low hum of the alien insects, the rustle of night wind. But louder than all of it were the whispers he had caught earlier among the women. Will he choose? If not, Sarah and her daughter are finished. Humans. Perhaps they are different. The soldier clenched his jaw. He hadn't come here to be part of this. He was a crash survivor, not a savior. And yet, somehow, The colony had placed a weight on his shoulders, heavier than any battlefield he had known. By dawn, he could no longer lie still. He stepped outside. The air was cold, sharp against his skin. The settlement was already awake. Women moved about with baskets, tending to animals, sharpening tools. Their eyes flickered to him, and then away quickly, like they were afraid to stare too long. And then he saw Sarah. She was at the training ground, a wide-open circle of dirt and stone. She held a long staff in her hands, her body moving with fluid precision as she sparred against two other women. Every strike of her weapon was sharp, controlled. Every block was perfect. Sweat glistened on her skin, but she never slowed. The soldier stood frozen. She wasn't just trained. She was a warrior. When the sparring ended, Sarah glanced at him. Briefly, before turning away, as if his presence meant nothing. But he knew she had seen him. Later that day, the colony leader summoned him. He entered a stone hall where the elder women sat in a circle. Their faces were stern, their eyes measuring him like a rare artifact. "You must understand our ways, human," the leader said. "We are a world without men. Long ago, our kind suffered a sickness that wiped them out. For generations, we have lived only through what we call the chosen bond. Outsiders who come here are given a choice. They may bond, or they may refuse. But refusal comes with consequences." The soldier crossed his arms. "Consequences for who? For me, or for them?" The leader's gaze sharpened. "For those who are not chosen. The women who stand unclaimed are cast out. They are forced beyond. The walls where beasts roam, and the air itself can kill. It is our law." The soldier's stomach dropped. "That's why the girl begged me. If I don't pick her mother, they'll die." "No," the leader said firmly. "They will live as outcasts. But it is the same as death." The soldier's fists clenched. "That's not a choice. That's cruelty." One of the other women leaned forward, her voice cold. "It is survival. Without order, we would have torn ourselves apart long ago. Too many women, no men, endless hunger for protection and strength. So we created the bond. One man, one family. It is the only way." The soldier felt heat rise in his chest. He wanted to argue, to shout that it was madness, but he stopped himself. This was their world, their rules. He was the outsider. When the council dismissed him, Sarah was waiting outside with her daughter. The little girl's eyes searched his face. "Did they tell you?" He nodded slowly. "They told me enough." Sarah's jaw tightened. She pulled her daughter close, shielding her from the soldier's gaze. "Then you know why what she said? Last night was dangerous. She should not have begged. But she was right," the soldier said quietly. "Wasn't she?" For a long moment, Sarah didn't answer. The wind stirred her hair, her scars catching the sunlight. Finally, she said, "She was right about the rules. She was right about the danger. But she was wrong about me." The soldier frowned. "What do you mean?" Sarah met his eyes, her voice steady. "I will not beg. I will not plead. If exile comes, then exile comes. I have survived worse." The little girl shook her head furiously. "No, Mama. You said we'd be safe if we stayed strong. But we can't be safe without him." Her small hands balled into fists as tears filled her eyes again. "He has to choose you. You're better than all of them." The soldier's chest tightened. He knelt down, looking the girl in the eye. "Listen, it's not that simple. Your world's rules are not mine. I don't even know if I belong here." The girl's voice cracked. "But you do belong, because you're here now. And if you leave us, we're gone." Sarah pulled her daughter back. "Enough, child. Go to the hut." The girl hesitated, then ran off, wiping her tears with her sleeve. The soldier straightened. "You know she's telling the truth. Out me, you and her. You're finished." Sarah's eyes flashed with fire. "Do not mistake desperation for weakness. I will not throw myself at you for mercy." The soldier took a step closer. "But what about her? What about your daughter? Will your pride let her die too?" Struck a nerve.
Ow.
Sarah's lips parted, her breath catching, but she didn't respond. Her silence was louder than any words. The soldier exhaled slowly, looking away. This world was tearing him apart. They had rules. But to him, those rules were chains. Chains that trapped a woman and her child in a fate they didn't deserve. And yet, no matter how much he wanted to ignore it, he knew one thing was true. He had the power to change their lives. But if he made the wrong choice, it might doom them all. That night, as the moons rose over the alien sky, the soldier lay awake again. The words echoed in his mind. A world without men. A world without choice. And now, for the first time in his life, his choice might mean the difference between life and death for someone else's family. The next morning came with a pale orange sky. The human soldier had hardly slept. His mind was trapped between Sarah's fierce pride, her daughter's desperate pleas, and the cruel law of the colony. But he needed answers. Real answers, so he went. Back to the training ground, what he saw left him stunned. Sarah was already there, her body moving like a shadow through the air. She fought against 3 women at once, each of them carrying different weapons, a spear, a curved blade, and another with twin daggers. Sarah wielded only a staff, but she flowed between attacks with impossible grace. Every strike she blocked sent a shockwave of dust across the ground. Every counter she delivered was precise, calculated, merciless. She moved like someone who had done this for years, not just for sport, but for survival. The soldier watched quietly, his arms crossed, his chest tight. He had fought alongside trained Marines, had seen champions on different worlds, but Sarah was different. There was no hesitation in her, no wasted movement. She carried herself like a commander who had once led others into war. When the match ended, the other women stepped back, panting hard. Sarah stood tall, barely sweating. Her eyes drifted across the training ground and landed on him. For a moment, their gazes locked. She didn't speak. She simply turned away, as if his presence meant nothing. But he couldn't ignore what he had seen. Later that day, he cornered one of the younger alien women near the water wells. But when he pressed gently, she finally spoke. "You want to know about Sarah?" she whispered. "She was once a commander. Before the sickness ended our men, our people fought wars with outsiders. Sarah trained since she could walk. Her father was a warrior, her mother a healer. She became both." The soldier frowned. A commander. And now she's treated like this? Like she's disposable? The young woman glanced around nervously, then lowered her voice. "Strength doesn't matter anymore. Not if the council doesn't approve. Without a bond, even she and her daughter mean nothing. Rules are rules." The soldier felt his blood boil. Rules, always rules. And yet here was a woman who could fight like a warrior and lead like a general, trapped by laws she didn't deserve. That night, as the moons rose high, the soldier found Sarah again. She was sitting near the edge of the camp, her daughter asleep in her lap. The firelight flickered across her face, softening her usually sharp features. "You trained your whole life," the soldier said quietly, approaching. "Didn't you?" Sarah's eyes opened slowly. She didn't seem surprised he was there. "Yes," she said flatly. "Training was my life. It was supposed to make me strong enough to protect my people." "And did it?" he asked. A bitter smile touched her lips. "It made me strong enough to survive, but survival and honor are not the same. The council does not care how many battles I won. To them, I am only another woman without a bond." The soldier sat down opposite her. He looked at the scars on her arms again, the way she carried herself even when tired. "Your daughter believes in you more than anyone I've ever seen." Sarah's eyes softened at the mention of her child. She brushed a hand over the girl's hair gently. "She is all I have left. I trained so she would never see me break, so she would think her mother is unshakable, but inside, every day, I wonder if I can keep her safe." The soldier leaned forward. "She begged me to marry you because she thought it was the only way. But I think there's more to you than that. She wasn't lying when she said you're better trained, much more experienced. She sees it, even if your council doesn't." Sarah looked at him for a long time, her eyes searching his face. Then she whispered, almost too softly to hear, "Do you know what it means for a child to beg a stranger to save her mother? It means I have already failed her. No training can erase that." The soldier shook his head firmly. "You haven't failed her. She's alive. She's strong. She has hope. That's because of you. For the first time, Sarah looked shaken. She turned her gaze away, staring into the fire. Her voice trembled. Hope is fragile. Training can't protect against exile. When the council decides, my daughter's belief in me won't matter, they will send us away. The soldier's chest tightened. He hated seeing her like this, warrior broken not by battle, but by rules and politics. Silence stretched between them until finally he said, then let me see. Show me what you can do. Show me why she was right about you. Sarah's eyes snapped back to his, sharp again. You think you can judge me? No, he said firmly. But I need to understand you. I don't. How can I decide anything? Expression hardened, but then, slowly, she nodded. Very well, human. Tomorrow, I will show you. Not words, not stories. Only truth. She shifted her daughter carefully into a blanket, then stood. Her silhouette against the twin moons was tall, commanding, almost regal. The soldier felt something stir inside him, not just admiration, but something deeper. For the first time, he wasn't seeing Sarah as someone desperate for survival, was seeing her for what she truly was. A warrior, a leader, a protector, and perhaps someone who could change his fate as much as he could change hers. But as the fire burned lower and the night deepened, he couldn't shake one thought. If Sarah was truly as powerful as she seemed, why was she the one begging for a bond? And what was the council so afraid of? The council did not wait long. By the next morning, drums echoed across the colony, calling everyone to gather in the open square. The soldier stood among the crowd, feeling the weight of countless eyes on him. Every alien woman watched in silence, their stares sharp, expectant. The elder leader stepped forward, her silver hair catching the morning light. Human, she declared, her voice loud and steady. You have survived the crash, but survival is not enough. You have spoken with Sarah, and you have seen her strength. But words mean little here. If you are to bond, if you are to protect and be protected, you must prove it. You and she will face the trial. The soldier frowned. Trial. Kind of trial? The elder's lips curled into a cold smile. The test of strength. The wilderness will decide if you are worthy of each other. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The soldier noticed Sarah stiffen at his side, though her face remained calm. Her daughter, clutching her mother's cloak, whispered in fear, Not the trial, Mama. Please, not that. Sarah bent down and touched her daughter's cheek gently. Do not be afraid. I will return to you. But her eyes, when she stood again, betrayed the weight of her words. The soldier's heart pounded. He had been on survival missions before, but something about the way the crowd whispered made his skin crawl. Soon, they were armed only with basic weapons, staff for Sarah and a short blade for him. No armor, no shields, just themselves. The gates of the colony creaked open, revealing a vast expanse of wild jungle beyond. The elder's voice carried over the gathering. You will have until sunrise tomorrow. Survive together, or do not. Return at all. The gate slammed shut behind them. Silence fell. Only the sounds of the jungle remained, strange bird calls, rustling of leaves, and the low growl of unseen creatures. The soldier tightened his grip on the blade. So this is their test. They want us to die out here. Sarah's expression was grim. Not die. Prove. If we fail, they will say we were unworthy. If we succeed, they will say fate has chosen us. The soldier snorted. That's convenient. Sarah was already moving, scanning the trees with sharp, practiced eyes. Stay close. This place is not forgiving. They moved through the thick undergrowth, stepping carefully. The soldier's military training kicked in checking tracks, scanning for movement, but even so he quickly realized Sarah was faster. She moved like she had lived in this jungle her whole life. She stopped him twice before he stepped into hidden pits. Once when he nearly touched a poisonous vine. Better trained, much more experienced, the soldier muttered under his breath, remembering the girl's words. Sarah raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Hours passed before danger struck. The ground shook. followed by a roar that rattled the trees. From the shadows lumbered a massive beast, taller than a house, its skin armored with thick scales, its eyes glowing with hunger. Its jaws split open, revealing rows of jagged teeth. The soldier froze. That thing's supposed to be part of a test? Sarah didn't flinch. She spun her staff and stepped forward. Focus. Its hide is thick, but its underbelly is soft. We take it together. The beast charged, crashing through the trees. The soldier dove aside, rolling to his feet just in time to slash at its flank. The blade barely scratched the surface. The beast roared and swung its tail, slamming the ground so hard the earth split. Sarah darted forward, moving faster than he thought possible. She struck its legs with sharp blows, forcing it to stumble. Now she shouted, the soldier saw. His opening. He leaped forward, driving his blade into the beast's softer underbelly. The creature shrieked in rage, thrashing wildly. Sarah yanked him away just as its claws tore through the ground where he had been standing. The battle raged for minutes that felt like hours. Sweat poured down the soldier's face. Every muscle screamed with effort. But together, his raw strength and Sarah's flawless precision, they managed to drive the beast back. Finally, with one last strike to its throat, the creature collapsed, the earth trembling beneath its weight. The soldier stumbled, panting. You weren't kidding about survival. Sarah leaned on her staff, her chest rising and falling. For the first time, she gave him a faint smile. You fought well. For someone who nearly stepped on a poison vine earlier. Despite himself, the soldier chuckled. Guess I needed a teacher. They pressed on through the night, finding shelter in a cave as the twin moons rose high. Inside, the soldier lit a small fire, while Sarah tended to a shallow wound on his arm. Her hands were steady, her touch gentle yet firm. You've done this before, he said, watching her work. Many times, she replied quietly. I told you I was trained to fight and to heal. That is who I am. The soldier studied her in the flickering firelight. She wasn't just strong. She was disciplined, skilled, and unyielding. And yet beneath that steel exterior, he saw something else, someone who carried the burden of survival, not just for herself, but for her daughter. He remembered the little girl's pleading voice. She's better than them. She knows how to fight, how to heal, how to lead. For the first time, he believed it without doubt. Silence filled the cave. Outside, the jungle growled and hissed with unseen predators, but inside, the fire kept them warm. Finally, the soldier spoke. If this test was supposed to show me who you really are, I think it worked. Sarah looked at him, her eyes unreadable. And who do you think I am? Human? He met her gaze without hesitation. The strongest ally I've ever had. Her expression softened, just barely. For a moment, the walls she built around herself seemed to crack. Then she looked away, staring into the fire. Sleep, she said. Tomorrow we must face the council again. The soldier lay back, exhaustion finally catching him. But as his eyes closed, one thought echoed in his mind. This wasn't just a test for survival. It was a test of trust, and against all odds, he was beginning to trust her. The night was heavy with silence. The jungle outside the cave hissed and growled with unseen creatures. But inside, the fire crackled softly, casting long shadows on the stone walls. The soldier sat near the flames, sharpening his short blade with a rock, his mind racing. They had survived the trial. Together, he and Sarah had brought down a beast that could have destroyed them both. But even victory didn't erase the unease in his chest. Tomorrow, they would face the council again. Tomorrow, his decision could mean life or exile for Sarah and her daughter. He glanced at her. Sarah sat on the other side of the fire, her staff laid beside her. She was quiet, her eyes fixed on the flames, though he could tell her thoughts were far away. The scars on her arms glistened faintly, reminders of the countless battles she had endured. She looked strong, unbreakable. Yet there was something in the way her shoulders slumped, something almost fragile. The soldier hesitated, then spoke. You saved my life out there. Sarah's lips curved into the faintest smile. You saved mine too. That is what survival Means one hand holding the other. He nodded slowly. Still, you didn't have to risk yourself for me. You could have fought alone. Her eyes flicked to him, sharp and steady. That's not how I was trained. A leader does not abandon an ally. Not ever. The soldier leaned back against the stone wall. Your daughter was right. You're better trained, much more experienced. For a moment, Sarah said nothing. Then she let out a quiet laugh, a sound without joy. You repeat her words as if they prove something. Training does not change fate. The council decides everything. No battle, no trial, no scar will change that. Her voice cracked slightly, and she looked away. The soldier felt a pang in his chest. He had never seen her so open, so vulnerable. Sarah, he said softly, why do you let them treat you like this? You're stronger than all of them. You could lead them. Her eyes returned to him, burning now, not with anger, but with buried pain, because strength is nothing without a bond. Do you understand? No matter how many times I fight, no matter how many I save, they see me as incomplete. They see my daughter as a burden. Without a bond, we are nothing. The soldier's grip on his blade tightened. That's wrong. Her laugh this time was bitter. It doesn't matter if it's wrong. It is the law of our world. And I've lived too long fighting laws I cannot change. The fire popped, sending sparks into the air. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then Sarah's voice dropped lower, almost a whisper. Do you want to know the truth, human? The soldier leaned forward, his pulse quickening. Yes. She took a slow breath, her eyes glistening in the firelight. When my daughter begged you that night, I wanted to drag her away and silence her. I wanted to shout that she had humiliated me. Deep inside, I felt something else, relief, because she had spoken the words I could never bring myself to say. The soldier's chest tightened. I swore I would never beg for protection. Sarah continued, her voice trembling now. I swore I would never lower myself to ask for mercy. But when she pleaded with you, I realized, part of me wished it. Wished you would choose us. Not because of the bond, not because of survival, but because... She stopped, her voice breaking. Her eyes fell to the ground. The soldier swallowed hard. Because what, Sarah? For a long time she was silent. Then she lifted her gaze, and in it was something he had never seen before. Not pride, not strength, but raw honesty. Because I wanted it to. The words struck him like a blade. He sat frozen, staring at her. He had expected pride, anger, maybe even hatred. But not this. Not confession. Sarah turned away quickly, ashamed. I shouldn't have said that. Forget it. Tomorrow the council will decide, and you will walk away free. Do not think on it. But he couldn't forget. Her words burned in his chest, refusing. To leave, he rose and stepped closer, kneeling by her side. Sarah, you're not weak for wanting that. You're human. He stopped, then corrected himself. You're alive. Everyone wants someone to stand with them. Her eyes glistened as she looked at him. I was trained to lead armies, to heal the wounded, to fight beasts, but no one ever trained me to. Hope, not like this. The soldier reached out slowly, placing a hand over hers. For the first time, she didn't pull away. Her fingers trembled under his, but she didn't move. The silence between them grew heavier, filled with unspoken truths. The fire crackled, the night hummed, but all the soldier could hear was the pounding of his own heart. Finally, Sarah whispered, if exile comes, promise me you'll take her. Promise me you'll protect my daughter. The soldier shook his head firmly. If exile comes, we face it together. All three of us. Sarah stared at him, stunned. Then her lips parted, and a small, fragile smile touched her face. It was the first real smile he had ever seen from her. In that moment, something shifted. The soldier no longer saw her as just a warrior or a mother or someone trapped by cruel laws. He saw her as someone who had carried pain alone for too long, and he realized he didn't want to walk away as the fire burned low. Sarah leaned back, her eyes finally closing. But her hand remained in his, her grip faint yet unyielding, as if she was afraid he would disappear if she let go. The soldier stayed awake, watching her, his heart heavy with the weight of tomorrow. because tomorrow the council would demand his answer. And after Sarah's confession, he knew one thing. With absolute certainty, his choice would change everything. The gates of the colony opened with a groaning sound as the sun rose, spilling golden light across the square. Every woman in the settlement gathered to witness the verdict. The air was thick with whispers, a storm of curiosity and tension. The soldier and Sarah walked side by side, her daughter clutching tightly to her mother's cloak. The girl's eyes were wide, frightened, but filled with a tiny spark of hope. The soldier's jaw was tight, his mind a battlefield of thoughts. He knew that by the end of this morning, someone's fate would be sealed. At the center of the square, the elder council waited. Their silver hair gleamed in the light, their faces carved with the weight of judgment. The leader stepped forward, her voice carrying over the crowd. "You have faced the wilderness," she said. "You fought together and returned alive. Few have done this, but survival alone is not enough. Now, human, you must choose." The words hit like a hammer. The crowd hushed instantly, holding its breath. All eyes turned to him. The soldier's heart pounded. He looked around at the rows of alien women, some anxious, some angry, some quietly pleading without words. Then he looked at Sir. She stood tall, her scars catching the sunlight, her daughter pressed close to her side. Pride kept her chin high, but he could see the tension in her jaw. The way her hands curled into fists to stop them from shaking. She would not beg. Not today. The soldier's throat was dry, but he forced the words out. "Before I decide, I want to say something." A ripple of surprise moved through the crowd. The leader frowned, but allowed him to speak. He stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. "When I first came here, I thought I had just crashed on another strange world. I thought I was the outsider, and none of this mattered to me. Was wrong, it does matter, because I saw what your rules do." The women stirred, whispering louder now. He continued, pointing towards Sarah and her daughter. "You tell me that without a bond, they are nothing. But I saw Sarah fight. I saw her lead. I saw her heal. She's stronger than any rule you can. Write on stone. I know daughter she has more courage than anyone here. She'd beg me to marry her mother, not out of weakness, but out of love. And love is not shameful. Love is survival." The elder slammed her staff against the ground. "Enough, human. The choice is yours alone. Do not insult our laws with speeches." The soldier turned toward her, his eyes burning. "Your laws are wrong. They punish the very people who keep your world alive. If exile is what you give to women like Sarah, then your laws deserve to be broken." The crowd gasped, a wave of shock rippling through them. Never before had anyone dared to challenge the council so openly. The elder glared. "So what is your decision? Will you bond? Or leave them to their fate?" The soldier turned back to Sarah. Her daughter's wide eyes shimmered with tears, waiting for his answer. Sarah herself stood still as stone, refusing to let emotion betray her. He took a breath, and his voice rang out clear. "I choose her. I choose Sarah." The square exploded with noise. Gasps, shouts, cheers, and protests all at once. Some women wept with relief, others scowled in fury. The little girl cried out with joy, throwing her arms around the soldier's waist. Sarah, however, stood frozen. Her lips parted slightly, her eyes wide. For the first time, her unshakable composure cracked. She whispered almost to herself, "You chose me." The soldier smiled faintly. "I didn't just choose you because of your daughter. I chose you because you are everything she said you were. Better trained, much more experienced, and because—" He hesitated, then finished softly, "because I want to." Her breath caught. For a heartbeat, the warrior in her melted away, replaced by the woman beneath. Then, slowly, she bowed her head, not out of submission, but out of acceptance. The council leader raised her staff, her voice sharp. "So be it. The bond is made. The human has chosen." The crowd cheered louder now, though not all voices were joyful. Some muttered angrily, some turned away. But the decision was sealed. The soldier bent down to the little girl, brushing a tear from her cheek. "You were right," he told her. "Your mother, is everything you said she was." The girl beamed through her tears, hugging him tighter. I told you she's the best." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes meeting his. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, two survivors from different worlds, bound now not just by law, but by choice. Then she whispered so only he could hear, "You don't know what you've done." He smirked softly. "Oh, maybe. Not, but I know I'm not letting you face this world alone." Her lips curved into a smile, fragile but real. The first true smile she had given him. The sun climbed higher, crowds slowly dispersing, but the soldier knew everything had changed. He had come here by accident, a man lost in a crash. But now, he had a family, a purpose, a bond forged not by rules, but by trust. And as Sarah stood beside him, her daughter between them, he realized something else. The colony thought they had tested him, but the real test had been Sarah all along, and together, they'd both passed.